All right, we are doing chapter 7, The Job, from Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life. You didn't say anything about the Snickers, Lizzie hisses as we are led into a mini police station right in the basement of the building. Well, I thought it, I reply lamely. The security guard, who must have ratted us out, exchanges a few words with the policeman and leaves without a backward glance. The policeman, whose name tag says Polanski, motions for us to sit on the wooden bench across from his small desk. Lack of beard aside, he would make a good department store Santa Claus. He isn't very jolly, though, so he probably wouldn't last long. Would you like to tell me what you were doing vandalizing that office upstairs? He asks, leaning forward in his chair. Lizzie and I exchange glances. I can see she's frightened, even though she's trying to pretend she's not. Before I can think it through, I say, we know him. I mean, full guard, Harold. I know we told the guard he's our uncle, but he really is a friend of my parents. I mean, of my mom's. My dad, he's not around. So, what my brother here is trying to say, Lizzie interrupts, is that vandalizing is totally not the right word. You see, we had passes to go up there. She gestures to the stickers on her chest. So this has all been a big mistake. Not so fast, Officer Polanski says as Lizzie reaches for her briefcase. That office no longer belongs to Full Guard and Levine. It was rented out last week to J&J Accountants. It was their office you were vandalizing. Lizzie whispers out of the corner of her mouth. There he goes with that word again. The guard in the lobby has a direct video feed to all of the empty offices. Got to make sure no squatters get in here. He saw you destroying private property. I have no idea what a squatter is other than someone who squats, but I don't bother to ask. Instead, I say, honestly, we were just looking for a set of keys that Mr. Folgard hid there a long time ago. We didn't mean to destroy anything. Breaking and entering is a very serious offense, you know, he says. I glare at Lizzie. She shrinks down to her seat a little. Then she says, but the door was unlocked, so it wasn't really breaking, just entering. And really, what's so bad about entering? The way I see it, Officer Polanski says, clearly not swayed by Lizzie's logic, is that not only did you owe J&J Accountants the money for a new carpet, but you have to pay your debt to society for not respecting other people's property. Neither of us speaks for a moment. I am calculating how many weeks of allowance it is going to cost to buy and install a new carpet. Can't we just write a letter to J&J and to, society, apologizing for the misunderstanding? I ask, hoping he can hear the sincerity in my voice. He ignores my questions and says, now, Tony, Tia, those aren't your real names, are they? Neither of us answers at first. As Tony Castaway, I had felt shielded from the reality of the situation. But as Jeremy Fink, there is no escape. Officer Polanski makes us tell him our real names and addresses, and he types them into his computer. He is a very slow typist, so we have plenty of time for Lizzie to pinch my leg. As I flinch, I realized I've been holding my breath, and I quickly let it out. What was that for? I ask out of the corner of my mouth. You were turning purple, Lizzie whispers. You swore we wouldn't get arrested, I whisper back. We're not getting arrested, she says, forgetting to whisper. Then in a smaller voice she asks, are we? Officer Polanski gives us a long look. We try to appear as innocent and wide-eyed as possible. Mom told me once in times of troubles to try to project sunny thoughts. Butterflies, babies laughing, hot dogs in a ballpark on a sunny day. So I think of babies laughing in a ballpark, surrounded by butterflies eating hot dogs. Very small, tiny hot dogs. I can't vouch for what Lizzie is thinking, but it must be something good because Officer Polanski says, no, I am not going to arrest you. You're going to send us to juvie? She asks, narrowing her eyes at him. I groan. Officer Polanski laughs. No, I am not going to send you to juvenile detention either. I was thinking of community service. You don't have any big plans this summer, right? Thinking of the box, I say, well, actually, nope. Lizzie jumps in. Community service is fine. I'll see what's available, he says, pulling a clipboard from his desk drawer. Doesn't a judge have to assign community service? I ask. We're streamlining the process, the policeman explains, unless you want me to involve the judge. Lizzie kicks me in the ankle, which actually hurts quite a bit. I don't think so, he says. He scans the list in front of him. I'm even going to be a nice guy and give you some choices. Great, I mumble under my breath. I can't believe that in the few days since school ended, I am now sitting in a mini police station being assigned community service for the summer. How did this happen? How am I going to open the box if I can't look for the keys? Because I will be too busy picking up garbage on the West Side Highway or planting flowers in some church garden. Let's see, Officer Polanski says, running his fingers down the list. He is apparently unaware of my screaming inner voice. Here's one. You can pick up trash in Central Park following the weekly free concerts. How's that sound? I do not trust myself to speak. It wouldn't be so bad, he says. We'd give you poles so you wouldn't have to touch the garbage with your hands. And any cans you find, you can keep and turn in for 5 cents down at the recycling center. What else you got? Lizzie asks bluntly. He consults his list again. Well, the only other one that would take kids your age would be helping a man named Mr. Oswald with some deliveries. He's closing down his pawn shop and moving to Florida. The job could involve some lifting, though, and I gotta tell you, you two aren't the strongest specimens I've seen. We'll take it, Lizzie and I say at the same time. We're stronger than we look, I add. While this is true of Lizzie, I'm probably just about as strong as I look. The policeman pauses to consider it, then says, All right, I'll call Mr. Oswald and find out when he wants you to start. He pushes 2 small notebooks toward us. You'll have to keep a log of the hours you spend on the job and your observations. And anytime we might ask you to turn them in so we can make sure you're not skirting your responsibilities. Observations, I asked. Of what? Community service isn't just about getting people to work for free. The citizen is supposed to learn something from the experience. They could come away from it a better person. A better person, Lizzie repeats. What's wrong with us now? I don't know, Tia, he says. That shuts her up. He dials Mr. Oswald's number, and after he introduces himself as Officer Polanski, all we hear is, one boy, one girl, about 13. Yes, no, yes. Say they're stronger than they look. He checks his computer screen and reads out our address. Then he says, Okay, yes, they'll be there. No problem. Good day to you too, sir. You start tomorrow, he says, putting a notation next to the job on his clipboard. How are we supposed to get to him? I asked. Because my mom works all day, and so does Lizzie's dad. So I don't see how. He holds up a hand to stop me. Mr. Oswald will send his driver to pick you up and take you home. A driver? Lizzie asks. If this guy is a driver, why can't he just hire someone to help him pack up his stuff? Officer Polanski's face darkens a bit. Would you rather take the first job? Lizzie shakes her head hard. I was just asking. Mr. Oswald has done a lot for the city, he says, so we would like to help him out whenever we can. I wonder how a pawn shop owner helps out the city, but I am not about to ask. Officer Polanski looks like he's on his last nerve. I don't like the idea that I'm going to be taken out of my neighborhood comfort zone once again and led who knows where. You two can go now, he says, 9 a.m. sharp, and dress more casually. Never seen kids on summer vacation dressed up before. We don't usually dress like this, I'm quick to explain, not that it really matters. One more thing, he says. You do a good job and we'll waive the cost of a new carpet. That one was pretty beaten even before you two got to it. Thank you, we say in unison. We practically leap off the bench in our hurry to be out of there. I'm about to sling my backpack over my arm when he says, Oh, wait, what was I thinking? I still have to call your parents. But they're at work, Lizzie says hurriedly. We can just tell them ourselves. He chuckles, but not in a very friendly way. Doesn't work that way, he says. Now, what are their work numbers? Actually, I say, raising my hand slightly, then quickly lowering it, my mom's home today. He adds both numbers into the computer and then says, Now get going. See if you can stay out of trouble for the rest of the day. Lizzie grabs her briefcase and we hurry from the room and back into the elevator. Neither of us speaks as we press the button for the lobby. It's just as well that he made us leave before calling them. I wouldn't have wanted to hear Mom's reaction. I'll hear it soon enough. What were you thinking? She demands as I walk in the door an hour later. How did you get home? The bus, I told her. The return trip on the bus had been much smoother. We got quarters from a hot pretzel vendor, and Garlic Man was nowhere in sight, or in smell, as the case may seem. We sat in the front of the bus, and I tried to eat my peanut butter sandwich while Lizzie ate a pretzel. It wasn't easy to choke down the sandwich after our experience, but just in case Mom punishes me by only serving something healthy for dinner, I had to eat while I could. Even still, I could only eat half. I'm sorry we lied about going to the post office, I replied sheepishly. I know we should have told you where we were going. I was afraid you'd say no. Come sit down, she says, and leads me over to Mongo. We pass a painting on an easel that she must have been working on today. It's covered with cloth now, though, so I can't tell what it is. We sit down and she takes my hand in hers. I know this is hard for you, she says gently. You want to follow your dad's instructions, but we just might have to find it another way. Lizzie and I have already tried everything else, I tell her. The only way to get in is with the keys. Otherwise, we'll ruin the box. I don't want that to happen either, she says. But now you have to put that aside and deal with this community service mess you've gotten yourself into. You can't shirk your responsibilities with this man. What if he's some sleazy pawnbroker guy who just wants free labor? He's not, she assures me. I made Officer Polanski give me Mr. Oswald's phone number to check him out. I wasn't going to let my baby be whisked away by just anyone. I groan. Mom. Sorry, she says. I wasn't going to let my almost teenage son be whisked away by just anyone. That's better. He's a very interesting man, and I think you'll find this job. It's not a job, I remember. A job is where you get paid. She shakes her head. A job is where you are assigned a task and you complete it to the best of your ability. Money or no money. Anyway, as I was saying, I think you might actually enjoy working with Mr. Oswald. You may find you have a lot in common. Like what? I asked, but I'm not really interested. My stomach is growling. Now that I know Mom isn't going to punish me, my appetite has returned. The man has spent his life around other people's stuff. Sound like anyone you know? Without waiting for an answer, she stands up from the couch and says, and by the way, you're grounded for a week. It would be more, but I figure you're already being punished. You'll do the community service and then come straight home. I sigh dramatically. It's almost like you don't want me to find the keys. You know that's not true, Mom says. It will all happen the only way it happens. She heads into the kitchen and I follow. What does that mean? I ask, before she can answer. The phone rings. The caller ID shows it's Lizzie's dad. She picks up and she says, yes, he's grounded for a week. Yes, I'll wait until the car comes tomorrow and call you at the post office. Thanks, Herb. She hangs up. Hey, you got off easy. Lizzie's grounded for 2 weeks. Poor Lizzie. She was only trying to help me. I'm sure this isn't how she planned to spend her summer either. What do you want for dinner? Mom asks, already reaching into the cabinet for the box of macaroni and cheese. Why do you ask if you already know? I always hope you'll surprise me. Not tonight. After years of trying to get me to eat normally, Mom has given up. Dinners are now a choice between 4 meals: macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, fish sticks, or pizza if we're going out. Mom once tried frying some chicken and pressing it into the shape of a fish stick, but I knew better. She puts a pot on the stove and pours in the water. You're going to drive me to drink with your finicky eating habits, she says. Seeing as our house is an alcohol-free zone, unless I'm going to drive her to drink chocolate milk, I am not too worried. You'll be 13 in a few weeks, she says. It's time to expand your horizons. I'm going to introduce one new thing each Monday night. After what happened today, I don't dare argue. Sure, Mom, I say, hoping she'll go easy on me and won't jump right to broccoli. And since today's Monday, Mom says, swinging open the refrigerator door, we might as well start tonight. But don't worry, I'll go easy on you. She pulls out a glass bowl covered in cellophane. I approach with caution and peer inside. Broccoli.